Welcome to Sewing 101. Today we're going to talk about how to use a sewing machine, and then we're going to get into 2 ways to mend a hole in your favorite pair of jeans. Let's get into it. To begin, note that each sewing machine can be a bit different, with a price range of $80 to over $2,000. You don't really need to purchase an expensive machine though, if you're just getting started. This basic machine allows you to do a basic stitch for sewing clothing, darning holes, and to use a zigzag stitch for sewing on a patch. It's important to have enough space to lay out some of your tools and fabric. Plug the pedal into the machine and then into the wall. Place the spool of thread onto the thread pin. Sewing machines need 2 threads attached to work, the spool on the top and the bobbin on the bottom. Grab an empty bobbin and let's add thread to it. Typically, you are following the arrows and images on the machine or reviewing the manual for its specific setup. Choose a needle for the fabric you are working on. Different needles work for different fabric. For mending a hole in jeans or denim, there are specific denim needles that are needed that will puncture through that tough fabric. A pack of universal needles might work as well. Just look for the numbers on the package. The numbers correspond with the type of fabric they work with. When installing, press the needle into place with a flat edge facing back and tighten the clamp screw. From the thread pin, pull thread through the thread guide. You are essentially following the arrows on the machine and making sure the thread catches correctly. Then, pull the thread through the needle. And click the bobbin into place below the needle. Pull the bobbin thread by first grabbing the needle thread with your left hand and pulling it tight. Use your right hand to rotate the hand wheel towards you. This will bring the needle into the bottom and back up. Once the machine is set up, practice with a basic stitch and get the hang of applying pressure to the foot pedal. Use a scrap of fabric or a piece of paper to test it out. Lift the foot and place the fabric underneath. 100% cotton is a great material to start with. The right side has the pattern and the wrong side does not. Then apply pressure to the foot pedal to start the machine. Adjust to the type of stitch you want to practice. Most machines have a stitch wheel that changes the type of stitch you can use. For starting, stick with what you have and just get a feel for the basic straight stitch. Use your hands to guide the fabric as it runs through the machine. Make sure to press the back stitch button to go backwards after a few stitches and at the end so the stitch does not unravel. Once the stitch is complete, release the foot, pull the fabric, and cut the string. Now you're ready to mend a hole. Let me show you 2 different ways. Method 1, the darning stitch. For smaller holes with fabric that isn't stretchy like knit, use an iron-on patch the color of the fabric and a darning stitch. A darning stitch is essentially filling the hole with stitches while keeping the rest of the fabric from fraying, and it will help reinforce the patch. First, remove frayed edges around the hole and cut a patch a bit bigger than the hole, and then place it under the hole facing up. Next, iron the patch, but put a piece of extra fabric over the hole to protect the iron. Now, place the fabric under the needle, then lower the foot. Adjust the stitch wheel so it's a straight stitch. Sew a box around the tear. Then, fill in the box with straight stitches. You can also stitch across the width of the box for extra protection. Method 2, sewing a patch on top. For larger holes, I recommend sewing a patch on top of the hole. When choosing material for a patch, cut out whatever fabric is interesting to you. First, remove the frayed edges like we did before. Next, cut a piece of heat and bond slightly smaller than the patch. Use a scrap piece of fabric inside the leg so the patch doesn't adhere to the other side. Then, peel the protective layer of heat and bond. Place it over the hole and iron it on. Now we're ready to stitch. To begin, use a straight stitch. I use the 1/16 inch stitch or number 3 on the dial. Set the tension between 1 and 5 with 4.5 as the default. Then switch to a zigzag stitch for a secure hold. Now that you know how to sew a patch and you've gotten familiar with your sewing machine, the world of sewing is nothing but possibilities. For more projects like these, go to familyhandyman.com.